fellow friends, hello fellow artists. It's almost time for PLEINAIRPRIL, which is the most humbling time for us artists. Winter is behind us, meaning probably most of us have months and months of working indoors behind us, working at a screen. We have months and months of Command Z behind us and adjusting behind us, and this really fully shocks us back into the brutal honesty of traditional mediums where you cannot go back and you cannot fix, and you have to commit and you have to really learn it. I can't think of any better way to grow as an artist. I personally have been trying mostly characters and designs recently, so tackling mood and color and light is something I haven't really focused on at all in the last couple months. So that's going to be a challenge. Also, I haven't touched gouache, which is the medium I am going to focus on again this year. So that's going to be deeply humbling. And gouache still is a medium I am super uncomfortable in. Also, a challenge is not only do you draw and paint every day, you're also asked and encouraged to post every day, which a lot of us artists really have a difficult relationship to social media. It can, for some people, really kill motivation. For me, it's kind of the opposite problem. It kind of becomes my only motivation, not to learn, not to grow, not to challenge myself, but what brings the most likes. So I've made a choice a year ago already of just posting less, and the moment I post, I detach from it completely, and I never have Instagram on my phone anymore. Also, I took all these precautions to distance myself from social media, and PLEINAIRPRIL will be a challenge in that way, that I get jolted back into the world of posting every day. But it's also good to not completely hide away anymore, to have this, I guess, exposure therapy and learn and confront myself with the difficulties of posting again. Posting something that doesn't get a lot of likes and still painting the next day, but also posting something that does really well and not getting too attached to that either the next day when painting. It'll be a difficult but good trial to sit down and learn that again. So these are the goals for PLEINAIRPRIL for me this year. We are in for a humbling time, but I think that's sometimes exactly what we need. I am really excited to go outside and use PLEINAIRPRIL as an embrace of this new season and an embrace of this new country that I get to live in. I moved back to Germany a couple months ago in winter, and I haven't been back here in my home country in spring for a few years, and I've always had a difficult relationship with finding joy and purpose and fulfillment in my hometown during spring and summertime. So I'm really hoping that PLEINAIRPRIL gives me an opportunity to really embrace the beauty and explore and find new places and new things that bring me joy. I'd really ground myself and put down my roots in this beautiful country. So that's a little bit of a personal goal of PLEINAIRPRIL for me as well. Yeah, let's just see how it goes.
To start off with a clean slate and set myself up for success, I deep cleaned my brushes and palette and filled it with bright, fresh new colors for the challenge. Like I said, this is my first early spring back home in so long, and I want to use this challenge as a way to celebrate and honor all the cute, unique little aspects from our home country that I completely forgot over the years. Stuff like listening to the echoey bird songs in the morning and smelling the rain while gathering wild garlic leaves in our yard. In all my years abroad, I forgot what a blessing it is to have a nourishing, good food source from my childhood growing on my doorstep. And since I'm making wild garlic pesto with pine nuts and olive oil today, I thought this should be my first subject to paint. It was a rainy day and the paint just wouldn't dry, and it's my first time painting gouache in a while, so this was a struggle, but that was to be expected. The next day the weather was friendlier, still icy cold but sunny, and it made these gorgeous flowers and plants glow in the morning light. I think I've always preferred zooming in rather than zooming out when painting, meaning painting little details like the shrubbery rather than big expansive landscapes. It makes me feel like I'm diving into a small secret world. Today I painted a facade in Munich after work. It was lit beautifully when I started, but the sun dipped on me halfway throughout, and I was left guessing my way through this one, so I'm not stoked about day 3. But day 4 I started to notice the positive effects of PLEINAIRPRIL. Not on my painting and gouache skills, but on my soul and well-being. I've been so fortunate to find myself blessed with wonderfully full work days, full of character designing and illustrating these days, and I'm so grateful for that. But being stuck inside at my screen while life is just exploding everywhere around me, almost feel like I'm wasting the beauty. And even though I just don't have the time to spend the whole day outside rolling around in the grass and napping under trees, this challenge allows me to spend at least an hour out in the sun with my flowery friends. I try to be extra grateful and extra present in this very special hour in my day, absorbing as much of the smells and colors as I can.
I'm not painting alone today. I am meeting up with a group of other Munich plein air painters in a part of Munich that I never really go to. So this is a whole new experience for me, but it's lovely because even though I love the act of painting alone and being alone in my thoughts and stuff, it's also one of the great things about being an artist is the community of other passionate people. So I am really grateful that there's also a community like that in my hometown here. So I'm gonna jump on my bike and bike downtown. It takes about an hour along the river. I've been doing that bike ride quite frequently recently. I'm excited to paint amongst some other friends and people today. It's already late afternoon. I only have about an hour until I'm leaving for a dinner with my aunt. So light is fleeting. And yeah, I really wasn't feeling painting today, but it was the first day where I really was like, there were tons of other things I wanted to rather do. And I did all those things, and now I'm like, I gotta keep up with the challenge. I'm thinking maybe I attempt painting today without a pencil sketch, but just going straight into colors, just to spice it up a little bit. I think that will spark more joy for me today. Also, don't mind my hair. I just desperately have been trying to pin back my somewhat bangs. I don't even know what this haircut is that I have right now. And it's been a little bit annoying having it in my face all the time, so that's why they're like all clipped up like this. So this also isn't the best look, but you'll just have to bear with me for that one. Comfort goes over beauty in PLEINAIRPRIL, I would say.
One of my favorite phenomena in the natural world is subsurface scattering, meaning when light pierces through the leaves, making them glow from the inside out almost. With watercolors, I was never able to capture that vibrant, saturated green, but with gouache I can, and that brings me so much joy. In general, I'm noticing that there's so much more hue variety that I can get out of gouache with painting greens. I'm going to a friend's house to do a little co-working session together, and I'm taking the time in the morning to get my plein air painting in. I headed to a nearby field. It's a really calming place. There's like the wind flowing, and it's cool but not too cold. The birds are singing. It's a really lovely morning, really lovely way to start the day once again. Throughout these first days, I really noticed myself getting more and more comfortable with the medium. And with comfortable, I mean that I don't feel like the majority of my brain power is being used to fight this new, uncomfortable medium called gouache. Last year, I mostly felt quite cramped and like I had to be really rigid and careful to not mess the whole painting up with a beginner's mistake or a color that dries differently than I expected, for example. And I was constantly struggling with always mixing the same kind of shadow colors. And I definitely still had that issue this year, but slowly my hand and heart learned to befriend the medium. Last year's and this year's experience really compounded, and I'm noticing that there's a lot more trust that I have in the colors, which gives me room to take risks and try new things and be playful when painting. I am truly proud of myself for every now and then deciding to lean out of my comfort zone a little bit, of challenging myself to learn and practice a medium or a technique that I might just not be super comfortable in yet. Kind of putting myself in the position of a beginner again. That is how we grow. That is how we learn. It's only through these moments of struggle and I don't know if this painting will turn out at all, and being fearful a little bit that you'll mess it up, and being fearful of what the medium will do, and feeling this rigid state of fighting a little bit. That is uncomfortable, but that means we are growing and broadening our horizon. And I'm grateful that every now and then I feel called to put myself in that position. Nevertheless, I am also super grateful that with gouache, I feel like I'm slowly exiting that state of constant pain and fear and struggle. I feel like I'm getting to a point with gouache where I can actually kind of play with it and be joyful with it. And that is really lovely. So as you can tell, I think most of these days so far, I've just been out in my yard, maybe my hometown, just because it was busy and working full time and had to kind of find moments here and there to force myself to go out quickly. So I just didn't have a lot of time to go drive out to beautiful places and seek out beauty more farther away. So I'm really grateful that after the first week, me and my dad made the decision to grab all our work stuff and just head to our little, my grandparents' little apartment in the Alps in Austria. That opened up a whole new possibility of subjects and colors for me to paint, just being in the mountains and in that kind of nature. I grew up surrounded by mountains. It only took me until maybe my mid-20s when it really hit me how majestic and gorgeous mountains actually are. I've heard people refer to mountains as having this kind of grandmotherly energy, that are wise and protective and have been here since forever, looking down on us. And I really loved having the opportunity to paint and be in their presence. Before starting to paint, I would really take a second to stop and look around at these ginormous mountains. I feel like having that little moment of ritual before starting to paint, of really taking it all in, had an effect on the way I painted, and also made the memories I had even more vibrant. I really felt like I absorbed some of their power almost. And I'm really grateful that I got to do that. I'm really grateful that we chose to go to the mountains. And when I was in the mountains, that I did really take a second to go out every day. And even if it was just walking 5 minutes up a hill, or if it was doing a giant hike, I'm really grateful that I managed to seize the day in that way and use PLEINAIRPRIL as a deep moment of memory making. I've been so lucky with the weather, painting wise, this April. Usually April is
weather in Germany is like all over the place, but this year it's been consistently dry and beautiful, only a few drops of rain here and there. It was really nice for painting, not so nice for the plants. But today I just finished my work and I'm heading to life drying downtown. I usually take my bike these days just along the river. It's quite scenic, it's quite beautiful, and I'm racing against time today. There's the first giant rain cloud coming my direction since forever, and I'm just gonna bike as fast as I can to try to get some painting in before it starts pouring. Yeah, I'll better stop yapping, and yeah, we better get going. It's day 30, we made it through all 30 days of the PLEINAIRPRIL challenge. I feel quite accomplished. To be honest, the last few days, there was a period of time where I really just had to force myself to go out and paint every day just for the sake of the challenge. I really wasn't feeling it, but I am glad that I still managed to push through. I am noticing that there's seasons when it comes to drawing, that everyone I think goes through different seasons, and for the longest time my primary goal was literally just wanting to impress people, wanting to get validation, and then it transitioned into wanting to create in order to get better, truly improve. That was kind of what last year's PLEINAIRPRIL was about, just really forcing myself to do and try difficult new things, experience as much growth as possible. And this year, that wasn't the case. And for the longest time, I was kind of asking myself if I was failing at this challenge because my primary goal wasn't growth or improving. My goal this time was joy and painting things that made me feel something. It was more of a playful, more wholesome approach. This was truly about embracing this new season at home, embracing the beauty, and I was wondering if I was failing at the challenge for that reason. Like, can joy be the only reason to create? Can joy be a good reason to create? And I mean, of course it can. I found this lovely post that this wonderful gouache painter and art director called Tommy Kim left on LinkedIn a couple weeks back, and I screenshotted it because I thought it was so beautiful, and he put it so much more lovely than I did about his time when he was living in Hawaii and painting gouache. Tommy Kim says, "I've discovered the secret of lasting happiness while I was traveling in Hawaii. It's not escaping to Hawaii's breathtaking views, it's about what happens when you stop, really look, and let your paintbrush capture the moment. Turns out when you create art in the moment, something magical happens to your brain. Your memories become permanently imprinted in ways photos never could. Have you ever noticed how different it feels when you slow down and really look at something versus snapping a quick photo? When you paint mindfully, you're not just seeing, you're experiencing every color, texture, and emotion. Your brain forms deeper connections because you're fully present, noticing details that would otherwise slip by. It's like meditation with a paintbrush. You focus on each stroke, each shade, and suddenly the world's noise fades away." Isn't that beautiful? I think that was what this year's PLEINAIRPRIL challenge really was about. I hope whatever your PLEINAIRPRIL challenge looked like, if you followed along, if you didn't follow along, if you're thinking about following along next year, I hope that you can find some joy, some presence in your painting as well. You always learn something. It's just just the mindset changes, and I think that's okay. I think I'm gonna keep doing this next year as well. This is really such a lovely way to improve my gouache skills, take in the world around me, honor this world in the present moment. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I hope you have a lovely day. Bye bye.